Okay, so I'm just going to give a quick run through of this crime scene. I'll try and keep it relatively brief, but I'll try and show all the features as well. So first we do when we arrive at the crime scene is we're going to open up this interface by pressing the button on the controller, and this is basically our workbook of the crime scene. So we're going to have a task list, which is going to update dynamically. This is currently being worked on. We're going to have an overview of the different floors, which you can click on, get a closer view, and we're going to have a gallery of all the photos that we take of evidence during the crime scene. So first things first, looking at the crime scene, we're going to pop inside, and as we realize these two doors were closed, so we're actually going to want to mark on the map that when we arrived at the crime scene, these two were closed. Cool. So I'm going to grab the toolbox and the ruler. You'll see that this ruler really should be in the toolbox, but we've added a lot of tools in the last couple of versions, and it's got to the point now where the toolbox actually can't fit all the tools in. So that is something we will work on. So basically need to expand that, add some more slots. So you've got new tools like containers, magnifying glasses, tweezers, rulers. Anyway, so first things first, arriving at the crime scene now, we're going to see that door's open. So is that door, it looks like the back door's open as well. So now we've got an idea of what doors have been left open down here. We're actually going to mark that on the map. So onto here, so you can see these two are already open. The doors are open by default on the map. I'm thinking of switching it so they're closed by default. But as you see, the end one we saw was closed, so let's close that now. Cool. So, a bit of blood there, we're going to mark that as well. So, first things first, we're going to mark out the crime scene with some crime scene markers. So you grab these markers, and what's cool about these markers is as we place this down by the body, when we check the map, you'll now see that mark with a number 1 is now next to the body. So you can see on the map where you're placing these evidence markers. We're going to put another evidence marker by... Oops, I'll put the camera there for in a second. I'm going to put another evidence marker by what looks like a potential murder weapon there. And another one by that kind of bloody shoe print. Now, we're not going to do too much with the body. That's going to be taken away and analysed in a lab by a different team. But what we are going to do is we're going to get a sample of that blood on the carpet. There we go. Fantastic, so that's a bit of evidence gathered. And what we're also going to do is, before we start touching anything, we are going to get a picture of the crime scene. Nice wide shot of the crime scene. Oops, didn't mean to open the door. There we go. Now, as I mentioned before, put that back in the box. When we take pictures, they now appear here so we can see them. And the next step is to just draw a line simply to where it's been taken. Now, I've already got the data for where we are. I'm just kind of building the system to get a nice interface going, where it shows you where the picture was taken, and you can get information from that. But cool. Okay, so we're actually going to get a picture of that, the potential murder weapon over there, as well as that footprint. So we're going to want to grab that ruler and the camera again. This is kind of a process that we're going to want to do for every bit of evidence in the house. However, I'm not going to do it for everything for this run through because I'm aware of time. I want to kind of keep the video kind of quick and just give a run through of what you can do in the scene rather than do everything in full depth. There we go. So we've got the ruler in that picture for scale. And what's useful is we can now see on the picture displayed there. Great. So looking over here, looks like we've seen the back doors open. We've also seen a broken window here. So maybe one was the exit or entrance point. Complete presumption, I presume this would be the entry point and they would have fled through the door, maybe. It seems the easier method rather than going over a window. We can see broken bits of glass here. We can see the broken window frame. I presume there's probably some outside as well. Now, glass is great because potentially good for getting some fingerprints on if the suspect wasn't wearing or the perpetrator wasn't wearing gloves. Also, sharp glass bits. We could potentially have some left behind cloth fibers or even hairs. So we'll have a look, and to do that, we're going to use this magnifying glass. Let's have a look. Check the windowsill as well. Oh, okay. There we can see that there is a hair. Not a hair, a cloth fiber. It looks like it's white. It's quite thick as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to go collect that properly. But before I touch anything here, I'm actually once again going to get a picture of this area with the crime scene marker. Let's grab a crime scene marker. Let's take a picture of it. Fantastic. Once again, you'll see that appears in the menu. To collect the crime scene hair, or the solid cloth fiber, we're going to want to use these tweezers, which, as you can see, there's the trigger on the controller. As I pull the trigger, they close. And we'll take the lid off that. There we go, we've got a little container to store the hair in. Now, as for storing the hair in a container, I've seen it's been done different ways, so I'll probably we can maybe find a more realistic, such as a folded piece of paper or a plastic bag, but for now I've just got a little plastic container. What we're going to do is going to pick up that cloth fiber, drop it into the container, and there we go. We have a sealed container with the cloth fiber kept safely inside. As I mentioned before with the glass, another another good thing we can do with glass is to shine a light on it. And if you shine a light on the right angle, it's a fingerprint on glass, it can sometimes bring up the pattern. Let's move that across. Oh, there we go. Last one. You can see that there's a fingerprint on there. Now, I actually don't know how well you can see that on the recording, but I can see a kind of very, very, very faint. It's actually a mini handprint, and that's just a placeholder. It will be changed to a fingerprint, but just for the sake of now, it's just a handprint to get the job done. But it's actually a comically small handprint. So to bring that up, what we're going to do, if we grab this, the brush, and we can brush on and bring out the comically small handprint you can see there now, which obviously I mentioned before is going to be a correctly sized fingerprint, but just this demo I've left it as the handprint. So we can chuck that in the evidence. So as mentioned before, normally I'd go around and I would actually tag this. I'd put a crime scene marker there with a ruler. We'd get a picture of that. Let's check in here if there's anything. Nothing seems too out of order. Let's have a look at the back where... Oh, okay, so there was a crowbar, which is potentially the tool used, most likely the tool, to be honest, to use to break into here. So we could probably take that. Once again, I'd get a picture of this, put down a crime scene marker, check that for prints would be very important, and then collect it as well, take it back for as evidence. Oh, and we've also got some footprints here. So you can see these are kind of impressions in the dirt. And the good thing with an impression is the bloody footprint we had in the other room. You know, we can take a sample of the blood from there, but we can't really do too much of the pattern. Whereas here we can take a mold of the imprint, and that's what we're going to do next. For the sake of speeding things up, I'm not going to do everything I normally would do. Normally we'd take a crime scene marker, we'd take a picture, we'd take the ruler for scale. But just, I'm aware of time again, I'm going to try and keep it relatively speedy. So I'm just going to go over to the footprint and I'm going to just take a sample of it. So normally, like I said before, ruler, take a picture before touching the evidence, but this time we are just going to jump on along a little bit and take this cast. There we go. So you can see it kind of brought the cast out. We've got the pattern of the shoe that the perpetrator was wearing. So I'm going to go and drop this with the rest of our evidence. There we go. So that's all the kind of the tools showed off in there. It's important as well. We'll check upstairs now. Stairs is something I'm aware is a bit dodgy. You know, it is quite fiddly trying to get up the stairs. You know, once you get the hang of it, it's fine. However, I realised that a lot of people using this software, it's going to be the first time they use VR, so I need to kind of take steps to make it a little more user friendly. So I'm working with a system where you basically put your hand on the thing, you click, and it'll just teleport you upstairs. I didn't put that in for the demo, but I'm doing the same thing with the attic as well, because this teleportation system's all right, and I used to have a way you could chuck it up there, but it just felt more awkward and very, very user unfriendly. So I'm going to go with a system where we have an attic door here with a little rope, and we can just click the rope and teleport up. So for the sake of this demo, there is no evidence in the attic, but it is a fully usable, fully modelled space with furniture up there and boxes. So plenty of stuff we can do with that in future scenarios, whether it be hiding stuff or other evidence. It's checking in here. Room looks relatively normal. The doors are open, so we're going to make sure that's referenced on the map. Doors are open by default, so that's fine. That drawer is open and empty, which is very weird. So I'd probably get a picture of that. Check this desk. Check the drawer as well for prints, maybe for hairs left behind. In here, once again, check for prints and everything. Nothing too odd going on in here. We'll check the front bedroom as well now. I forgot to check on the way over. Ooh, okay, so we've got open drawer. Oh, we've got all open drawers. Okay, so this would be a good one as well. These are all empty as well, which is also very interesting. So I'd definitely get a picture of all these. These could definitely do with taking prints and handprints. There also could be hairs and stuff upstairs. So I'm going to do a quick check with the magnifying glass before we call it a day on this scenario. What I'm also going to do as well is just take a crime scene marker upstairs, just to demonstrate on the menu that when you're upstairs, let's go, so it can be a little bit awkward, and that's why I need to change that. So let's just say, put a crime scene marker here for a moment, and I'll put that down. When we check the map, you can see upstairs, crime scene marker number 6 is where we placed it in the first floor bedroom, which is just pretty cool. So we'll close that down, drop the magnifying glass. So let's just have a check here for some any kind of left behind hairs. I mean, we found a cloth fibre before, but we didn't find a hair yet, though I didn't really look too hard downstairs, so that's probably why. The idea of this is to have lots of evidence, lots of bits that some people will miss, more hidden bits that people will find, and just ways for people to use their initiative or previous experience and kind of bring that into action within VR. So let's have a look, not find anything here. No. Oh, hang on. There we go. And there we have what looks like a hair rather than a cloth fibre. So what we'd do is we collect that with the same method as before, using the tweezers, dropping that into a tube and keeping that safe. But I think we're going to run through now of all the tools on the scene, a basic run through of the house. I think that's all there is to really show at the moment. Thank you for watching.